Um, Thank you. Thank you, Pritish. Thank you, Angana, for that nice introduction. So, first and foremost, I'm not an analytics guy. So, am I really eligible to speak for myself, my knowledge today? I don't think so. But as my day job was explained, that I manage master data management, and most of us who are coming from typical information management or IT, which is serving data in a way to manage the decision support system, they cannot claim that yes, we are part of business analytics. They cannot claim that yes, we are part of big data. But hold on, did I say I am? I'm saying I was. So typically what we manage at this point of time, and typically what we manage possibly 2 years back, we don't need to go too far. What's really happening is that information landscape, the explosion of information, what we can gather at this point of time, it's so huge. The way we operate, the way we do business with our customers, the way we do our business analytics are changing completely. So what is happening? I mean, typically if I take my area, information governance, master data management, data quality, I thought I'll be the first person to talk about that. And previously, a couple of people already have talked about maintaining the veracity, which is the fourth V of the continuation of the third V, what we have. I'm talking about really veracity, which is the trust. So when you have the trust in factor, you need to manage your, when you have the trust in factor, you need to effectively manage your data. So what is happening now? I mean, take an example. I mean, why I said I was and why I'm saying I'm doing it now. Take an example. I mean, information governance says that yeah, we need to govern your privacy, security of the data properly. Take an example. I can churn the geolocation data for a specific customer, a telecom customer. So that will help my customers, that will help my network operation so that we can do servicing properly. Does that allow my marketing to use the same data so that they can do certain kind of marketing? Possibly no, your company policy does not say that. Possibly yes. So same example, it can be applied. I mean, you know that healthcare, there is HIPAA. If somebody is talking about their healthcare policy in public, it's really not allowed. So privacy, security has a bigger role to play in the information's landscape at this point of time. I'm slightly backtracking so that I can come to the topic. So when I said, so the way we are doing business at this point of time, we cannot ignore the traditional way of doing information management, information governance. We cannot ignore data quality. Yeah, I mean, we have a huge set of data. If you put a small spoon of color in the ocean, it doesn't change its color. But yes, I mean, over a period of time, if you start adding your impurities, what will happen is that the trust, the veracity, which is required for your data so that business can trust, yes, whatever decision they are taking on, whatever prediction they need to do for their business, it's really right. So I'm representing Capgemini, so I'll not talk too much about what we are doing on big data or what we are doing on business analytics. It's a big focus for us. I mean, we have been doing a lot since last 2 years. We are almost all the sectors where we are touching ourselves. We are doing a lot of solutions. We are doing a lot of innovations. Two things I want to talk about. I will not talk about because solution innovations, I know that in previous sessions also we have talked about. I know my other panelists also will talk about a lot of solutions and innovations. I'll talk two things. One is we are on a social angle. We are working closely with an organization called DataKind. It's a consortium of data scientists, and it has 6 chapters. And one of the chapters, which is recently being opened in Bangalore, And it's not an organization capacity. We have done it on our individual capacity. The data scientists what we have within the organization, they are part of the data chapter, the chapter which is being created for data kind. One example, what this particular organization is really doing. So they're doing something for World Bank in Kenya. They're trying to identify the neighborhoods which should be allowed to call as population which is below poverty line. And what they could identify from the data available, it's very sketchy, even with the government as well. They do not have data which can be relied on. So what DataKind had done, they have took the satellite image, and what they have sucked out a small neighborhood, and they tried to identify the roofs. So whether the roofs are made of plastics, grass, or any other materials, they tried to process that. They have processed that. They're using Cloudera for that platform, and of course they are using R for creating the models and creating the scorings as well. So what is helping them? Yeah, it's absolutely not the best model so that they can depend on, but this is helping their government so that they can use this data so that they are one step ahead and use this data so that they can classify people and classify the neighborhoods which can be used for the World Bank appropriately. So that's one example, and one more example I'll talk about more passionately because I am personally involved in that. We were talking about talents which is available in Calcutta and in the eastern region specifically. So even today I was supposed to be in IIT Guwahati, so a few of my colleagues went there, and we're going to IIT KGP as well. We have done that last year as well, and what these guys are really doing is fabulous. And I got a chance, a couple of guys which I'm mentoring, I got a chance to speak to one of them recently, and I was speaking to them. It's most of your batchmates. They are really in sense of entrepreneur. Why you are still with us? And to be very honest, our attrition is almost nil. And so what's really helping you to stick to us, stick to this big data and business analytics industry? So what they are really doing, it's really great. I'll take one example. So one of them had been put into one of the telecom customer, and the customer had came back to us saying that what your guys had done within 10 weeks, we could not get that intelligence, that insight in last 10 years. That says it's the guys, the people whom we have hired from this particular region, it's of very high intelligent quotient, and we have people from IIM as well. And I can strongly vouch for these people who are highly skilled, who are highly valued within our company, and who are highly valued, will be valued within the industry as well. I'll not take too much of time in case there is any Q&A. I would like to talk about more on what we are doing on information governance with big data and business analytics. With specifically on business analytics, yeah, we are working on connected cars. We are working on customer value analytics. Yeah, we had been doing market basket analysis for ages, but what is new we are doing in the market basket analysis? Maybe I can talk about that during the Q&A in case that happens. Otherwise, you are always welcome to catch me offline so that we can talk about anything which you have any information required. We are well on time. Okay, so I can talk about connected cars. We are actually working with two different customers, one in Europe and one specifically in India. So what we are specifically doing on connected cars, two things. One is warranty claim prediction, and second is predictive maintenance. So what is helping those two auto major, one in Europe and one in India, they have a small sensor which is giving us the data almost every day. based on certain information which is coming from different parts of the car. So it's so for example is so if you see your dashboard, it's a huge amount of information which is getting stored in your dashboard itself nowadays, almost every car. So what's happening is that we are getting data from individual dashboard of the car, and we are feeding that back to the automobile industry, whichever. So we are one Indian and one European, and they are using that for their warranty claim prediction and for predictive maintenance as well. We are working with one of the large airport authority in UK. And what we are doing is again, and you know the typical asset life cycle, we are actually working on asset analytics there. So in typical asset life cycle, we work on plan, design, operate and service. So what we are doing for them on this particular airport authority is we are actually trying to help them doing that predictive maintenance. So if they have any assets, it could be linear asset, based on the criticality, when they should renew, when they should refurbish. So we are actually trying to help this particular customer how they should do the predictive maintenance, and with the help of the data what we are churning out from different sources, and which is structured and unstructured both. I can take one more example, then I'll stop. So I think social media is...
Excuse me, we'll have questions at the end, please. Thank you.
It's wireless. I can specifically talk about the protocols as well, which is being used. Meet me after this session, so I can talk about the protocols which is being used. So yeah, I mean it's all based on TCP/IP and all, but it's one of the application layer which we are targeting and which we are getting the data from. Okay. So just moving on, my last thing which I'll discuss. Social media, I think it's not a buzz anymore. I think it's more of a commodity at this point of time. But what is really happening in social media analytics, I mean, as if I quote unquote, if I say that, what's really happening is we are creating dashboards, we are creating sentiments, we are creating, yes, I mean, how people can influence these, that, yeah, I mean, how network graph can be created. I mean, that's an extension, of course. But what media marketing is not always, it's never one way, it's always two ways. So what we are doing with this brand management and the marketing team, the feed what we are getting, so using Radiance 6 and Sysomo, so that we can read from the social media, and with that data we are actually using Clarabridge so that we can cluster it, and then we are using our R models so that we can classify, and based on that we can generate insight which can be used for the brand management team and the marketing team as well. Okay, I'll stop here. I mean, in case I'm pretty sure that we have a lot of other things to talk about. I'll stop here and catch me in case you have any more queries. I can talk about what is happening in Capgemini, outside Capgemini, and overall industry as well. And I'll love to talk about anything you have queries on data quality or governance as well, specifically on big data and business analytics. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baral. And now we have a new panelist on the stage. May I request you to introduce him, please, Mr. Khanna.
Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee. Mr. Amit Khanna is a partner, head for data analytics, KPMG, has more than 19 years of experience, set up marketing analytics practice for GE, set up global advanced analytics practice for Accenture, was leading data scientist group globally for Accenture, spread in 10 countries. On 3 patent, team has got 10 patent. Worked in US, UK, Europe and emerging market. Worked with Kellogg Business School of MIT and data scientist curriculum. Thank you to Mr. Khanna.
Welcome. May I now request Mr. Kaushik De to please share with us his thoughts on opportunities and innovations.
Thank you. So I'll give a couple of examples. First of all, when I talk about innovation, what also is important is about how we use the innovation and how we reuse the innovation in terms of identifying the pattern of the problem and applying it to a completely different problem. Let's say Lockheed Martin. What comes to our mind when we talk about Lockheed Martin? F-16s, F-35s, and recently even the missile shield. And soon we might talk about Lockheed Martin for prevention of sepsis. Sepsis, as you are probably aware, is a body's toxic response to infections. And it kills about 40% of the 1 million plus people it infects every year worldwide. Now, the problem with sepsis is identification in terms of it produces false alarms, and often in the initial stages, it can be confused with flu-like symptoms. Each passing hour in sepsis detection reduces the survival rate by quite substantially. So here is where the missile defense algorithms come into play. Because if you look into missile defense, there is also the problem of identifying routine launch, a migratory bird flight, or even a stray civilian aircraft, a small aircraft. So how do you isolate those false positives and really identify that, well, here is an enemy missile? So the same algorithm, when it was applied to sepsis with some configurations and customizations, it has been able to achieve 90% success in identifying sepsis 14 to 18 hours earlier than what the doctors could do it. So that's one example of how analytics can change lives for us. Now, given I'm currently working in Ericsson as the practice lead for BI and analytics, one of the things that we are involved in is creating a kind of a product which is called Expert Analytics, and that kind of can address what Mr. Modi's wife was facing. So it talks about, it's about how we integrate the data across the different silos, be it the OSS, BSS, the probes, the social or the CRM systems, and then it comes up with one holistic 360-degree view of the customer. When we do that, what we have achieved is basically we have been able to identify the psychological and the behavioral traits of the customer. And then when you combine it with the real-time data, you exactly know what exactly the customer is looking for, or what the customer has a higher propensity to buy, or what will appeal more to the customer. Say for example, you are shifting houses, and maybe you discuss it with friends, a family, in social media. And so imagine one day you are walking past the store, a few lifestyle store, and immediately you get an text in your cell phone about a promotion in a furniture which is happening right next to you, in the store which is right next to you. So would you not be prompted to go inside and check the deal on the furniture? Or say for example, you are on the road, you want to watch Federer and Nadal battling it out in the Australian Open. And you try to watch it, but the video kind of, it doesn't load well, it stalls, it doesn't load in the right resolution. So how would it be if we can immediately identify that problem and there is a pop-up in your web page saying that, well, would you like to pay say 20 or 30 rupees more to see it in premium speed over the next 30 minutes? Would you not go for it? So this is the way in which we are not only satisfying, we are delighting the customer, we are also increasing the revenue of the telcos. The other example that comes to my mind is, and this is also, before even we had all the great tools of, be it Hadoop, R, SAS, or even they were, some of them were its infancy. In 2009, if you recollect, there was an outbreak of flu, and this is United States. We are not talking about India where information doesn't flow so quickly. It was a combination of swine flu and bird flu, and it was called H1N1. There was no vaccine available of H1N1 at that point of time. So what happened was that the Disease Control Center in US, it was trying to identify the spread of that virus and contain that area so that the spread is limited. But to do that, it had to get the data. The problem was the data was 2 weeks old. The most recent data was 2 weeks old, because 1 week the people would really sit with the flu and they would think, well, all will be fine, and then they will go to the doctor analyzes it and then passes to the CDC. But by that time, and already 2 weeks is over. And interestingly, few weeks before the outbreak of H1N1, there was a paper published by Google in the Nature magazine. It talked about how we can analyze the spread of winter flu without looking into the CDC data. So what Google did, it actually looked into the different attributes, which has been different phrases, which has been searched by people across the different geographical locations. And that was like thousands of different attributes. And then they compared with the CDC data over the past 3 or 4 years. Finally, they were able to build a model after comparing, I think, about 450 million models, kind of, that there will be about 45 feature vectors which would significantly contribute, or which will significantly point out to the specific spread of diseases. Now the same technique was applied right now to H1N1, and with this Google could predict the spread of H1N1 in 36 hours, what CDC took to do in 2 weeks. So again, that's innovation for you. And finally, maybe I will just close with a final example. This is also reminds me of one of the projects where we have worked. I think it was about 2013. There was this Moods tornado in the US. It touched down at about something like 2:30 p.m. at about it's called E0, or and soon it went up to the downfall was at around the category 0, and soon it went to E5, the category 5, in about 10 minutes time. So by the time it hit the next county, the winds were at 210 miles per hour. Finally, it resulted in the loss of lives of about 25 people, and 377 were critically injured. So with this problem statement, you can see even in a country like United States, the information could not flow properly to inform them about an impending danger. So what we had done is, using the real-time analytics, what we did is the danger, when it is first echoed by the Central Weather Agency, it can be immediately transmitted to all the cell phones of the vicinity, be it the schools, be it the motorists, or be it some unsuspecting people who might be sleeping in their homes. And then and it can be done in a very simple way. All you need to do is to kind of draw a perimeter, and then whoever either falls in that perimeter or whoever is approaching the perimeter can get an alert. An alert at the right time could have saved lives of many people. So with those examples, I think I am already over time. So I thank you all and hand it over. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaushik. I think you brought out a very interesting aspect of analytics as we know it today, as opposed to the RDBMS and data warehouses that we are familiar with in the past. It's the question of being real time, the velocity, because the information about the speed of the wind becoming high has no relevance after some certain amount of time. I mean, he need not have sent it either. It's only in the very short window of time does that information has any value. This is a very key component of what the new age analytics is worth talking about. So thank you very much, Kaushik. And incidentally, somehow we forgot to introduce Kaushik in this process. So let me say that he is the BI and Analytics Competence Domain Leader in Ericsson India Global Services. He has more than 15 years of experience in the IT industry, and he has been working at IBM in the big intelligence, big data for the last 13 years. And he also carried the rich consulting and front-end sales experience in large consulting, SI and ADM deals across the electronics industry in the US. Welcome. Moving on, I will now ask Mr. Shovik Das to talk about his perspective. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Das. I just wanted to introduce Mr. Das before he starts his speeches. Mr. Sobhik Das is an associate partner, Strategy Analytics Center of Competency, IBM India. He is a stalwart in the domain of analytics in India and has been associated with the evolution of BI in India for last 18 years, since its very nascent years in the 90s. He was part of the analytics thought leadership team in PricewaterhouseCoopers, and now he is a part of the Strategy Analytics Center of Competency in IBM, a specialty team of individuals who are creating a global impact and building smarter enterprises. He currently focuses on helping organizations reinvent themselves through business model transformation, leveraging innovations in analytics. He is known for shaking the sea-suit of traditional thinking around the use of analytics and making them embed analytics in their next big move, as well as in their enterprise performance management. He has also been associated with IBM Watson, which represents a first step into cognitive systems and fueling a new era of cognitive apps. To Mr. Das.
Hello, thank you. Thanks for the introduction. The thing is that it's important to kind of understand the team that I belong to in IBM. It's the strategy and analytics team. In fact, that's what I'm going to talk about over the next 10 minutes. That's very important to really merge these two together, the business strategy and analytics. I mean, since the morning we have heard many eminent speakers talk about zettabytes of data, petabytes of data. They have talked about various algorithms, they have talked about various technology, they have talked about many different examples, some great examples we even heard a few minutes back as well. Okay, so the thing is that it seems that we are walking by the seaside and a strong wind is blowing. The strong wind can either give us headaches or it can create imaginations in us. So with zettabytes of data and all these algorithms, all these technologies, etc., I think there are more chances of getting headaches than really coming up with real imaginations. It's really a mind-boggling scenario out there with the big data, with all the different things, what to choose, what to go for. What kind of data? Should we go for social media analytics? Should we go for sensor-based analytics? And a whole lot of stuff are out there, and that's creating confusion. When I talk to the CEOs and the CFOs, I find there is a lot of confusion in their mind. They're really having the headaches. In fact, some of the examples that we heard, like for example, someone talked about the correlation analytics, like beer bottles going with